Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and I kind of can't believe it, but commander swaps are almost here. We have the details, and you can even swap for King Arthur, which is nuts. So use the timestamps to jump to whichever part of this video you're most interested in, and let's get started from the very top. Commander swaps, we're getting 2 of them. Look, at one point I got confused about the number of commander swaps we were getting. I feel like the grammar of the way it was said implied in one of the posts it was 1 swap instead of 2 swaps. Maybe I was reading into it too much, but it's 2. This is huge. This means you can max out 2 commanders using your gold key commanders, by the way, and we'll talk about which ones. Now, the first people to get this are going to get it on January 10th in a Pioneer test, followed by a release to all kingdoms. So just be on the lookout for this. The details of how this works. You can swap commanders a total of 2 times. Each commander can only be swapped once. I don't know why you would swap a commander more than once anyways. You can only select, oh wait, no, I do know why. Okay, so the reason you might want to have swapped more than once is because, like, let's say I swap Charles Martel, but it doesn't swap all the excess Martel sculptures I have sitting around. So I could max him again and swap him again? Is that what that is? Anyways, doesn't matter. You can only select commanders eligible for the event. Gathering commanders and commanders whose sculptures cannot be redeemed through legendary commander sculptures. Ishida, Cleo, Sundok, Hannibal, Mina, Ethel are not eligible for the transfer. I think this is in part because maybe they show the percentages in game somewhere. I don't remember seeing them though, but I think the percent chance of getting a gathering commander from a gold key is much higher than other types of commanders. You can only select commanders that you have already recruited. Okay, cool. So if you want to swap to King Arthur to get him maxed on day 1, you do need to have King Arthur for that to be a thing. Swapping the commanders will also swap their upgrade cost records. So there's a history of what you paid to max a commander. That's in the info section. The greater the level difference between the swap commanders, the more legendary swap tickets it'll cost. Okay, fine. And swaps cannot be undone, so proceed with caution. If you migrate during this event, you will no longer be able to participate, regardless of if you participated in your original kingdom or not. Now, this is really interesting. I sort of wonder, like, can you migrate right up until the day where this event shows up? But once the event does show up, you need to do your swaps before you do this? I don't know. I'd be really anxious about migrating basically but any time between after the patch and, like, when the event shows up, quite frankly. I don't know. Makes me anxious. Anyways, onward. You can swap for Arthur, by the way. They've specifically called this out. All you have to do is have him unlocked, but you do have to have him unlocked in order to make this swap. So in this example, they showcase Khan for Arthur, and it's a fully expertised Khan. To do that swap, you need these legendary swap tickets. You can buy 120 of them with gems. They're 100 gems a pop. This is an insanely cheap cost to switch a commander. Insanely cheap. This is absolutely worth the gems. Start saving up your gems for this now if you don't have the gems handy. You should, because 7K gem events are like... Not 7K gem events. Yeah. Actually, that is what I mean. 7K gem events. I got confused in my head with more than gems at the 7K tier. But whatever. The 7K gem event is a thing. You should always have 7,000 gems. This is insane. This is super valuable. I don't care what your level of spend is. Save up your gems for this. This is absolutely bonkers. That is insanely valuable. And it is 120 tickets to do like a 0 to max swap. In other words, the most it could cost you for a swap is the 120 tickets, all right? And there is also a bundle where you can get the remaining tickets that you need. Also, by the way, the Destiny Reforged bundle for the armament conversion's in here. We'll talk about that more in just a minute, all right? So that swap, 120 tickets from actual 0 to hero to make them maxed out, all right? Now, the other thing they showed is the cost of a 5551 swap, which is 72 tickets for what that's worth. So the commander doesn't have to be maxed if you want to do the swap, but I think for most endgame players, you're going to want to pick a maxed commander and make that swap, which would be nice. Like, just use your gold key commanders, Martel, El Cid, and if you can just remax them from your bag anyways, like, you lose literally nothing. This event is insane. Insane. So be ready to do your commander swaps. There's also a Gathering of Heroes event. You complete event quests to earn points, which can be used to recruit legendary commanders that you don't own. They've got some examples of these here. All right. And there's a bunch of quests that you do to do that. Honestly, like, this kind of stuff, it's coming very soon. I'm hyped for it. You can unlock every gold key commander. Kind of nuts. Certainly any gold key commander from the tavern commanders. You log in and you claim it. Here's where I get kind of amped up, though. Armament conversion. Oh boy, have I been talking about armament conversion for a long time. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your armaments will determine if you can rally garrison or even just how good you are in the field. So everybody should be interested in converting armaments because new formations keep showing up. And you might want to move in on one of those, especially if you can do these conversions and get this stuff for free. And I'll show you how you would go about doing that. So you can use conversion stones to convert legendary armaments into armaments of the same type. So you can do scroll to scroll or instrument to instrument from one formation to another, right? And after the conversion, the armament's formation and rare/special inscriptions will be changed to match the new armament. So you can see it on screen, okay? They've got a legendary inscription, which is destructive for Arch, becoming Hunter for Wedge. And the common inscriptions stay the same, however. Attributes are also not changed. If only we all had armaments like the one you see here. GG. Nobody's actually got these 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 armaments with a double inscription legendary. Just saying. Now, the conversion stone cost. Ooh. So if you have no inscription or a single common inscription, it's just one. That is so cheap, it's insane. You can take an armament that's in one formation that's got really high stats, like specifically the scroll slot or the flag slot, where the scroll slot, you could put a KVK reward inscription on there, right? The flag slot, you could do, I know it takes a long time, but the shop inscription on there, right? The legendary one. But you can take a base armament you had for one formation, switch it to another one, and then put the inscription on there. Huge. Actually incredible. So very happy to see that. Single rare inscription costs 3. A single special inscription costs 10. Armaments with 2 inscriptions require 2 extra conversion stones. Very interesting. So they're showing the maxed out case over here, but there's a lot of swaps that I will be doing that dramatically change the way I play the game. This is very cool. This really, I don't know if people realize how much of a dramatic cut this is at the time it takes to actually get to sort of meta armaments for a formation. And theoretically, if you're really crazy, right? Like, you could save up enough of these stones so that a new formation shows up. It's the next thing for your desired troop type. And like, you could switch your insane, set you've been working on, all of it over to that new one. Granted, then you don't have one for the other type, but you get what I'm saying. This is really interesting. So like a double inscription where one of them is rare would run you 5 stones to swap, right? It's 3 for the rare inscription and then 2 for an armament that has an additional, for 2 inscriptions, it requires 2 additional conversion stones. That's kind of cool. Yeah, wow. This is really hype. Now, we got to talk about how you actually get these stones. I will, however, point out that actually the armament swapping event, which is ongoing into forever, is actually a higher power level jump for most people than the commander swaps, the one-time commander swap. Like, I can't overstate how significant the armament swapping is here. This is big. This is really big. This is a really good choice that they're making, actually. I think this is really good. It's rewarding collection. So now, I've said in the past of armaments that, like, even when you win, sometimes you lose. You get something great, but like, you can't use it because you have better technically sort of already because whatever. Without getting into that whole thing, this is such a good change. It's astonishing. So there's a new series or category rather of achievements. These achievements are going to give you conversion stones. You get that for owning 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000 legendary armaments. And there's even one for 4,000 legendary armaments they showed in this video. And they give a pretty meaningful amount of stones. Now, I genuinely hope that they've kept track of how many legendary armaments we've gotten over time. I feel like they have to have done that to some extent because they already have some systems for that. But like, I really, really hope they have this record because it would kind of suck to have to do this from scratch after the event lands, after the change lands. Guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. They also are adding them into events. So KVK specifically, you can see here, killing or self-wounding 5 mil gets you 2 stones. You get 3 more at 15. So this to me feels like even free to play, there's a pretty generous helping of these stones flying around, which again feels like a pretty huge shift from the developers around the mindset of armaments and what the feeling is going to be like for collecting them, which I think is an extremely necessary change. I think it's an extremely good change. I think this is a really, really good change. Here you can see you can grab them for spending crystals and getting individual honor points. So like a bunch of ways to go and get these things. And of course a bundle. They mentioned that this bundle was a monthly bundle for whatever that's worth. I would assume it looks like that's a $10 bundle, if I'm seeing correctly, because City of Hope had to have started at $5. Same with Fountain of Wisdom and War Machine, right? So this bundle, it looks like it starts at double that. So it's probably like $10. I don't know what this currency is, but $10 for a conversion stone. I mean, you can get these free to play as well, but would you pay potentially $10 to take an armament that just has really good stats and move it from one formation to another? Yeah. Now, we'll see how that bundle kind of scales up. But what they're saying is like a armament with a legendary inscription will be $100 to switch. I think that's the idea. So I'm going to pay that $100 cost, right? And again, the actual dollar cost, we're going to have to see how the bundle tiers up. But I'm just inferring like 1 stone for $10 sort of a thing, right? But would I pay $100? This is so insane. To get like 1.7% of extra stats on my rally? Yeah, I would. That's what I'm going to do. I'm 100% going to do that. I'm going to take my legendary inscription that I put onto a flag for a KVK against 960, and I'm going to switch that over to an open field formation. I'm going to switch it over to, it's crazy because it's going to cost me a lot of these conversion stones, but I'm going to switch it to Echelon, and then I'm going to take a brand new from the shop legendary inscription and put it on an armament that has better stats for the flag slot. That's what I'm going to do. It's crazy, man. Anyways, wow. And what else did I snap a picture of? Oh yeah, Alliance markers with a timer. I love this, bro. I love this. I mean, I have been repeatedly saying that it's critical to make it easier for leaders to lead. And like, what makes it better or easier than having a marker with a countdown on it? Like, bro, if you missed the marker at that point, like, it's on you. I'm pretty sure it's actually Sun Tzu. I'm going to tell you a story. By the way, subscribe. This is the secret call out 20 minutes into a Chisgule gaming video, pretending to be Devin Nash, lol. But subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this so far. All right, so the story goes as follows, and I might butcher it a little bit, but the direction of the story is totally right, and the moral of the story is, I think, really valuable for leaders everywhere, okay? So Sun Tzu, in his rise to power, said to the emperor, I could take anyone and turn them into a soldier. And so the emperor says, oh, you could take these concubines and turn them into soldiers? And Sun Tzu said, yes, I could turn anyone into a soldier. And so the emperor said, bet, make it happen. So Sun Tzu goes, and he talks to the concubines and promotes one of them as the sort of captain. And he explains what they're going to do. We're going to get in front of the emperor. When we get in front of the emperor, you're going to do this series of moves in a formation, and this is how it's going to go, all right? And they go, yes. They get put in front of the emperor, and then they all just start giggling. And so Sun Tzu says, I'm sorry, it's on me. I must not have explained this clearly. When we get in front of the emperor, okay, this is the series of things that's going to happen, all right? Ready? Everybody gets it? Okay, go. So they go back in front of the emperor for the second time, and they all start giggling again. So Sun Tzu calls forward the captain of the concubine soldiers, cuts her head off, and says, "You're going to be the new captain," promotes somebody else. And he says, "Okay, I just want to make sure my instructions are clear. When you get in front of the emperor, here's the things that you're going to do, right?" And they go, "Yes." And they get in front of the emperor and they do the thing. The moral of the story is that the first time a leader says something, maybe it's on the leader that they didn't explain it clearly. But if it's still not happening the second time you explain something, then at that point, you need to change other things. And in this case, Sun Tzu made it really clear what happens if you don't follow his rules, right? The first time was like, "Oh, you must not have understood. That's on me as the leader. I didn't communicate clearly." Why am I telling you this story with regard to these markers? Because like, to some extent, you know, if there's an alliance leader, you've sent an alliance mail, you have, you know, the in-game things that tell you when stuff's happening, and you've got a countdown marker on the spot where it's happening. Like, I'm sorry, at some point, like, you can't blame the leaders anymore. It's just the player's fault for not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. Oh, boy. Anyways. So also one of my favorite leadership lessons is that leadership's about repetition. Anyways, I'm very happy about countdown markers. If you enjoyed my Sun Tzu story, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm hyped about everything that's in here. Unironically, this might be the single highest power level changing patch that has ever happened in Rise of Kingdoms. I don't know if people realize this, but like the ability to swap your armaments and swap two commanders is actually god tier. That is a huge change. And both of those changes, I think, actually are quite warranted and are very good. And so I'm very happy with these changes. This is really cool. I actually am extremely happy. And like, look, you've heard me be like clear and critical when I feel I have critical things to say. This slaps, man. It's very good. All right, so if you made it past the Sun Tzu story, now you make it to the combo attack stuff. So combo, we've got here every single talent in the talent tree. I'm going to flip through them really quickly. I'll highlight the ones that we either haven't seen before, okay, or the ones that merit more conversation, right? But this one right over here, I predicted this is what it would be. Commander's troop deals 3% more combo attack. I called it. Kind of cool in my vid. Consider subscribing. More normal attack damage is kind of nice. I probably should have figured that one out from the icon. And there's only a small amount of march speed in this tree, by the way, which, I don't know, for better or worse, that was something really noteworthy to me. A good day to die. This commander's troop deals 6% more combo attack damage of all types, but also takes 3% more damage. Ooh. I mean, this is insanely powerful. You probably end up taking this every time. It's so good. Now, in fairness, we need more ways to do combo damage, but we'll see what the rally commander does here. Okay. You get attack. This one, take 1.5% less normal damage of all types. Seems good. There was the 6% march speed. Unless I missed it somewhere else, is there only 6% march speed in this tree? That feels like a really low number. And over here, I think we saw the description of this one already, but the next one here, this commander's troop takes 3% less damage when it has under 50% of units remaining. That's kind of a nice one. Is it good for Rally Garrison? Yeah, I think it will be very good for that, right? For open field, not as much. For Canyon, yeah, good there, right? Maybe. You might find a better place for 3 talent points. I mean, we'll have to mess around with full talent trees. He's obviously got versatility, so the tail end of that is like, what are we doing? Not much. But if you want to see my full review of King Arthur, he looks insane. All the card over here, talk about combos. Wow. Man, I gotta be more clear. I'll talk about pairings. Okay? Pairings. Watch the full video. You'll see exactly what I mean. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.